If you've been feeling overwhelmed, emotionally drained, stuck in survival mode, or questioning your life lately, this is for you. A lot of women right now are exhausted. You're trying to heal, grow, become disciplined, build a better life, protect your peace, maybe build a business. Maybe you're rebuilding yourself after heartbreak. It might even be a bad relationship, trauma, burnout, disappointment in yourself, shame, whatever it is internally you feel lost. And I know this feeling because I have been there. You're doing all the work, yet somehow it still has you wondering, am I even on the right path? Why does my growth feel so lonely? Why does life feel harder the moment that I actually start to change? And why do I feel totally disconnected from everybody around me? Like nobody gets it. And ladies, the truth is, sometimes being on the right path doesn't feel peaceful. Not at first. Sometimes it feels very confusing. It can be very lonely. Sometimes it feels like your old life is falling apart before your new one is even built. And that's why I wanted to make this. I'm Dominique, and on this channel, we talk about everything self-improvement, building better habits, structure, discipline without motivation, and how to build a better life through what I call the domino effect. And these are small decisions that slowly change everything. This is for the woman who's tired of performing and ready to become her best self in life. If that's you, then subscribe and join the community. If you're ready for a complete reset, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, then download my free reset planner below using the link from our stand store. Now, I got all my notes with me, ladies, so you know what that means. Let's get into it. There was a season in my life where I genuinely thought I was lost. I had just come out of a really bad domestic violence situation, and mentally, I was just completely disconnected from myself. I was always anxious, emotionally exhausted, constantly overthinking, scared, trying to figure out who I even was anymore. I mean, I completely lost myself. Now, from the outside, life will keep moving. Bills are still going to exist, and people are still going to expect things from you. You know, social media can make it seem like everybody has everything together. But internally, I felt broken. Before I changed my life, there was a domino effect happening to me in negative ways because I was doing little things, negative things that were compiling and having a huge impact on my life in a drastically negative way. Not finding a job, feeling despair, totally isolated, drinking too much. It was not a great time. And during that time, I actually became obsessed with learning about the mind, learning about how to build that resiliency, strength, how to actually cope when everybody around you was telling you that basically what you're experiencing is not real. I actually started exploring this. Tony Robbins was actually the one who was like my gateway into a whole new perspective of the mind, how you think about yourself, discipline, healing, and how to get through that by understanding human behavior. I'm no human behavior expert. I'm only going to talk about my personal experience and the strategies that I implemented that actually worked for me in my life. And you can implement those strategies too. What I was in my Tony Robbins studying session. Of course, that led to studying Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, other leaders in the space, Carl Jung. And then I came across Marcus Aurelius. One of my favorite books, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor. This book will literally change your life. Here was a man surrounded by chaos, pressure, grief, responsibility, betrayal, and uncertainty. And yet he kept coming back to the very same idea. You can't always control life, but you can control who you become through it. No matter what happens, you have the control. That changed me. It helped me realize something important. Did this change overnight? No, but it was the first step in thinking differently, changing my identity. And then I built on those things, and slowly my life started to work out in amazing ways. Just because your life feels chaotic doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're just going through something right now. Sometimes that chaos can be proof that you're outgrowing your old life. Change can be hard. If you have been feeling overwhelmed lately, I want you to listen to these 9 signs carefully because you may actually be on the right path. Comfort is the killer of success. So if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, it actually could be a good signal, even if it doesn't fully feel like it yet. Number one, You're starting to outgrow people. One of the biggest signs that you're evolving is conversations that used to excite you will no longer fulfill you. Complaining, gossiping, being dragged into useless arguments, talking about literally nothing. You start noticing how much negativity, gossip, drama, distraction is all of a sudden surrounds you. You're gonna want more peace. You're gonna want more peace than attention. This can feel lonely at first because that growth changes your standards. So you stop wanting that constant chaos. You don't need that toxicity. You don't need to constantly over-explain yourself. You don't need to chase that validation from other people. You stop wanting that validation to over-explain, overshare. You stop needing that from other people because you trust yourself. People around you are not going to like this because for some reason they like the old you that was bitchy, never at peace. I don't know why, but they like the old you. That's when you realize that you've probably outgrown those people and those spaces. You're supposed to change. So if people around you are going, you're changing, just say thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good thing. Don't be offended if somebody's telling you you're changing, especially if they're trying to make your positive change, if they're implying that it's negative. It's only negatively impacting them because they don't understand what you're doing. So you need to stay focused on the right path. A woman stepping into herself, her peace, her feminine energy, she moves differently. She begins to realize that not everybody deserves access. You don't need access to your emotions, to your anger, to your time. They don't need it, or even to your future. So if these people can't get with the program, then they're just going to have to get out of your table. And that's not you being cold, that's growth. Number two, you're uncomfortable in places where you were once settled. This is huge. The old version of you could tolerate things that the new version of you can't. Now, certain environments are going to drain you. Certain people are going to make your nervous system feel tired, and you probably can already name one or two of them. What's interesting is nothing around you may have even changed yet. You changed. But that discomfort isn't punishment, it is awareness. And you're starting to recognize what no longer aligns with you, with the woman that you're becoming. And once you see that, honey, you cannot unsee it. It is a beautiful thing. Number three, you are craving silence more than the noise. You don't need to be out all the time. This doesn't mean that you hate people. It doesn't mean that you're not a people person. It just means that you're selective with your space. You don't need to always be available. A lot of women find ourselves overstimulated 24/7, especially if you have kids, if you're doing multiple jobs, if you're taking care of family. Maybe you're a younger woman and you have to take care of your parents. Those types of things are very overstimulating. Not to mention you have social media, other people's constant opinions, texting all day from this person, that person, this person. Then you have the comparison. Right? Comparing ourselves to other people. Well, she's this far. I'm not there yet. It probably won't happen for me because I started later. Comparing yourself won't get you anywhere. Eventually, your soul just gets exhausted. Now, one thing I learned through these moments is that your silence is powerful. It's healing. And sometimes the biggest breakthroughs happen when you put the phone down, get rid of the noise, go sit by yourself, and do nothing. Just sit with your thoughts. That's why journaling, prayer, meditation, walking, exercise, quiet time for you matters so much. You cannot hear your intuition and what you need to do when you're paying attention to what everybody else needs to do and getting distracted by all of the noise around you. Number four, you're becoming more aware of your habits. Habits are going to change your life. And I want you to start with something small, like making your bed or not hitting the snooze button when your alarm goes off. These little dominoes stack up and they make a big difference. They compound because changing your habits is one of the biggest shifts. And this is really hard. When I stopped drinking, it was a big habit because it wasn't so much the alcohol, it was that the lifestyle I had created. Anytime we went out to eat, there was a drink. If we went to an event, there was drinking. If there was, it was like socially okay. And then when that trauma situation happened, it went overboard. Be aware of your habits because when I stopped drinking, all of a sudden it had a way bigger, better effect on my whole entire life. I didn't just go, oh, I'm just going to stop drinking. Oh, I'm just going to stop talking to this person. No, you have to do these little things in shifts because we're going to get motivated to make these big changes, right? Like your New Year's resolutions, you get really motivated to set a goal, and then by February or March, you forgot it, right? Life is not built from motivation, but I do want to give motivation a little bit of credit because it did help me start to see things a little bit differently. I started watching these motivational videos and then started reading it, and then I started delving into it in the next step. Motivation is fleeting, it will go away. It's a good feeling, and then when life gets hard, and it always does, or a roadblock happens or an obstacle happens, then we tend to give up. Life gets hard and we just go, oh, well, I knew it was going to be like that. But the most successful people push through. They never give up. What is waiting for you on the other side is going to be 10 times better than what you had before. And it all starts with building your habits. By you noticing those certain things that drain your energy, that doom scrolling, the toxic relationships, drinking too much, staying up late 4 or 5 a.m. and then going to work at 8 a.m., procrastinating, literally putting off your projects to the week or the day before, and then getting mad when you didn't get positive feedback on the project, emotionally reacting to everything, like literally letting people take you out of your calm state, and you just start yelling and getting mad. Why? Don't do that. Because for me, I had to be honest about the habits that were keeping me stuck, and I didn't like it. It was not a pretty picture that I was looking at. I didn't like it. But guess what? It was a picture of me. And I needed to draw a new picture and create a whole new story. If you do not create a new story for your life, take control of your life, implement new habits, and create a new identity, then you are just riding the wave of somebody else's life. You're just coasting through, and you'll always feel this weird in limbo-ness on the inside. So that's not what we want. We want to make sure that you're just moving, taking a step in the right direction every single day, moving towards the things that are going to fulfill your life. This is why journaling, meditation is so important, because when you're journaling and when you're meditating, you're going to write down the things that are most important to you. What is your reason for getting up in the morning? Why are you working so hard? Where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 5? Where do you want to be in 30 days? What do you want out of your life? Where do you want to live? Like, what values do you have? These are the things you need to write down, because this is how you take control of your life. That's the domino effect. It's one better decision that leads to another. Number 5, you stop wanting to impress everyone. You could care less. This one is going to change your life. Now, when I say you don't care about impressing people, I don't mean that you just walk outside looking like a mess, okay? Like, oh, I got my bonnet on, or I got my sweatpants on. I'm showing up to the meeting casual with a crop top because I'm not trying to impress anybody, and I'm just going to do my thing. No, like you got to read the room, right? So you're not trying to impress everybody, meaning you're not needing constant validation from other people. You don't need to over explain yourself, meaning your goals, why you're changing your life, why you're setting boundaries. You have to stop trying to prove your worth to people who have already decided that they are not going to understand you. They have already written you off, essentially. So once you get that feeling, there's no explaining. You got to let that go. Once you do, it is the most freeing, liberating thing that you will experience. That's freedom. Feminine energy is not about performing for attention. It's about confidence, self-respect, softness, boundaries, inner peace. You stop chasing approval because you don't need it. Number 6, you're learning to respond instead of react. This goes back to not yelling at people, not taking people out of a calm state. The old you reacted instantly. Oh, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. They're going to know exactly how I feel. The new you pauses. You're going to pause, and that pause changes everything. You're not going to let any more texts, any more comments, opinions, or situations control your emotions. You control your emotions. And what happens when we actually give in to our emotions? Most of the time, we typically say something that we regret. We start going, gosh, did I say that? I didn't mean that. Watch your words, because sometimes, those words are powerful, guys. You need to realize that not everything deserves your energy. Don DePonte says your energy is like a ball of light. Protect your ball of light, harness your ball of light. Not everything deserves a response. This is a really hard lesson for women to learn, right? Because we like to talk, we like to just, especially women that are going from trauma. It's hard to get past that trauma, especially with a lot of women that haven't been through therapy. When you're living in that trauma, when you haven't gone through that therapy, your body is in survival mode. And when you lived in survival mode for a really long time, your nervous system is on high alert. You're just healing teaches you that you don't have to succumb to every little feeling. You don't have to emotionally attend every battle that somebody invites you to. You can just walk away. Number 7, finally started taking responsibility for your life. This is where real transformation begins because you're not blaming your past, you're not blaming other people, you're not waiting to be rescued by anybody, you're not waiting for permission. You're just deciding my life is my responsibility now. Maybe you've made some mistakes. I did this to myself. My life is my responsibility. I'm gonna turn this around. Nobody's coming to save you. And I say this from love. Nobody's coming to save you. It's hard, I know, to hear, but it's very powerful once you understand this, because now you can take control of your life. Once you stop waiting for someone to save you, you become dangerous in the best way. You're not living passively. We're not doing this passive aggressive thing. We're not being submissive to somebody else's box that they've put us in. You start building intentionally. And number 8, you feel pulled toward discipline. I needed this. I needed real discipline. I didn't want that overwhelming burnout feeling, that fake hustle culture. I needed real discipline, the kind that says you need to get your ass up, Dominique, even when you don't feel like it. You need to protect your peace. You need to work on yourself. And you have to stay consistent, even when nobody is clapping for you. And I've been the lone soldier on the island where nobody was clapping for me. That's okay. One thing Marcus Aurelius taught me is that discipline is self-respect. Your habits become proof of who you believe you are, who you want to be. The woman who changes her life is usually a woman who finally becomes really consistent in private. Number 9, you're starting to believe that this change can actually happen. This is my favorite part because this is the most important part of all. Before your life changes externally, right? It changes internally first. You have to believe it with your heart, with your soul. You have to have faith because that faith comes before you ever see any type of result. Begin imagining a better future. Healing is possible, peace is possible, confidence is possible, financial freedom is possible, your health. That life that you dream about is actually possible too. And that's what matters because hopelessness keeps you stuck. Despair, depression keeps you thinking about all the things that you don't have, where you're not. You have to have hope because the moment that you believe change is possible, it is. And eventually, your entire life will follow through. That is the domino effect. So that's it for today. Now, if life has you feeling a little bit heavy, I need you to hear this. Just because your life feels messy, it doesn't mean that you're failing. Growth is uncomfortable. Healing is uncomfortable. Outgrowing people is uncomfortable. Changing your habits is uncomfortable. Becoming the woman that you're supposed to be is uncomfortable. That discomfort doesn't mean you're lost. It doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. It just means that you're finally finding yourself. One day, you're going to look back and you're going to realize the season that almost broke you was actually the season that built you. If this video spoke to you, then do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you can join our Domino Effect community. This channel is for the woman who's tired of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and disconnected from herself. We talk about feminine energy, self-improvement, healing, discipline, habits, mindset, emotional intelligence, confidence, peace, and doing it through one step at a time because those small decisions create massive life changes. And if you need a free guide to get you started, don't forget to click the link below for my free reset planner. See you next time.